Hello everyone, back with another video. Today we're going to talk about research types, part 2. We will start with case control studies, then cohorts. So case control studies, I really had like a long period of time where I wasn't able to get a grasp on it, like understand what it is. And then I kind of looked at the name. It's case control. Case is an individual with a condition. Control is an individual who doesn't have the condition. However, you are controlling for something, right? Like the age, the gender. Let's take some examples. A case is someone with lung cancer, and the controls are people without lung cancer. However, they are controlled. Controlled by what? By age. Let's say that the cases with lung cancer on average are 65-year-old. You better make your controls average to be 65. So when I'm comparing to find risk factors for lung cancer, I did control for age. Age is not a confounding factor. It doesn't change my results. Let's say that I own stock in one major smoking company or a cigarette producing company. And they paid me a lot of money so I can publish an article saying that smoking doesn't cause lung cancer. So what I'm going to do, I will bring cases with lung cancer, and then I will bring controls who have an average age of 10. They are children. And I brought the baddest children in the world. All of them smoke. However, like for smoking to cause lung cancer, it needs time, right? Like nobody who smokes at 10 or 5 or 8 or 12 or 14 is going to develop lung cancer at that time. So when my results come out, I will say, look, controls smoked more and they didn't have lung cancer, so smoking is protective. So that's how I lied. So they want you to control for things, at least age and gender, okay? So cases are people with a disease, controls are people without the disease, and these two groups, people with a disease, people without it, have a similar age, similar gender. We will touch on that in data analysis, okay? So that's a case control. I have two groups. What will I do with these two groups? I will ask them questions about their past exposures. So these are the cases, people with lung cancer. Did you smoke before? How many cigarettes? Did you have any medical conditions? Did you do any surgeries? And now I have people who smoked, people who didn't. Controls, did you smoke? Did you not? And now I can compare. So if these were cases with lung cancer, and let's say 70% were smokers, and the controls who are age and gender matched were, let's say, 30% smokers, so that's 70, that's 30, oh my god, there's a difference. Lung cancer might be caused by smoking, it's associated with the smoking. So that's how we do case control studies. And as we have mentioned in cross-sectional studies, that one of the important statistical measures that you commonly see in it is the percentage. So the prevalence of depression is 40%, something like that. Here, definitely you will find percentages, like how many cases were smokers or how many controls were smokers. But there is a unique value here, that's the odds ratio. And we will touch on it in statistical analysis in detail. For now, I just want you to know that case controls have odds ratios, okay? In statistical analysis, you will learn all you need about it. This study type is commonly used and it could be yours. One of the studies that I have performed, multiple actually, were on risk factors for psoriasis, for inflammatory bowel disease, and we did case control studies. So this could be your future research, similar to cross-sectional. It's really very feasible and can be done in situations where funding is scarce or there are like many challenges to doing research. This is an example of a case control study on the association between cigarette smoking and lung cancer. Now cohorts, there are two types, retrospective and prospective cohorts. And the difference between cohorts and case controls, that cohorts, you have two groups as well, okay? So that's a similarity. Case control, two groups, here two groups. The difference in case control from the name, case and control. People with a disease, people without a disease. Here in cohorts is people with an exposure and people without an exposure. So smokers and non-smokers, these are my primary groups. It's not classified based on disease status like lung cancer and not lung cancer. No, it is smokers and non-smokers. That's how our two groups are defined in cohorts. And then there are two types, retrospective and prospective. In retrospective studies, what happens is that we go back 10 years using medical records, and like 10 years back. So we are in 2024, we go back to 2014 and see which patients were smokers, which patients were non-smokers, and then we follow their medical charts, their medical records up to 2024 and see who have developed what cancer or what condition. So the exposure happened in, or the point at which we checked if they were exposed was in 2014, and we followed them up using medical records to 2024. So that's the retrospective cohort. It's like you jumped into the past, divided people based on exposure, and then moved up to the present to see if they have developed the outcome or the disease. While prospective cohorts, these are where you start from today. So today, I come to the hospital, I'm in the clinic. Are you a smoker? Are you not? I'm going to follow these patients divided by exposure. Some are exposed, some are not, for 10 years down the road. So we started in 2024. I'm following these patients up to 2034 to see who have developed lung cancer and who did not. So this is the difference. In both prospective cohorts and retrospective cohorts, you are moving forward. However, in retrospective, your point where you have started is in the past, in 2014. Okay, so I'm today in 2024. I will visit medical records in 2014, see who is a smoker, who is not, and follow them up to today, all using medical records. While in a prospective, I'm starting today, I'm dividing people into two groups, and I'm following them up for 10 years. So these are longitudinal studies. This is the prospective and retrospective cohort, and both of them share the same statistical value, which is the relative risk. That's the unique statistical measure for it. So we have mentioned with case controls the odds ratio. Here it's the relative risk, which we will definitely touch on in statistical analysis. These study types are commonly used. It may be yours, but definitely the retrospective, not the prospective cohort. Because for the prospective cohort, you have to start now for a disease to develop, and for you to catch the relationship between an exposure and disease, you need a lot of time. Like, don't think that someone smokes for 5 years and they get lung cancer. So you are a medical student, you are for 6 years in your country or school, you might be elsewhere after this, and hopefully not, but you might die, you might have a traffic accident. It's really not something you can rely on, and it's not something you can rely on for sure to improve your CV as someone who looks forward to getting published as soon as possible, like within 1 year of beginning a project or less than that. So I don't recommend doing the prospective cohorts. Up until now, we have the retrospective, we have the cross-sectional, we have the case report, obviously, if you are in the clinical years, and also the case controls. The last types I'm going to touch on, just for the for the sake of touching on, but they are not going to be projects that you will do, are experimental research, either on animals or on human or in a human subject, so like clinical trials. These are not types that you are most likely to initiate. You might be able to find some project in your school, they are working on that, and you might be able to participate and become a co-author. However, these are not types you are initiating, okay? You might be a part of it if they allow, okay? But you are not initiating, so I'm not going to waste your time with it. But that's just an example. During the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, we had remdesivir, an antiviral medication that was studied for it in clinical trials. So these are the study types I want you to know. There are others, but they are really not at our level as medical students. You don't have to waste your time learning about them. I hope you like this. Never hesitate in asking questions. It's really something that, and also in rewatching these videos, learning research types for the first time can be challenging, and revisiting these videos hopefully can help. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.